begin the build, start with a 2x1 with an airlock. The layout doesn't matter that much, so you can make it however you want, but make sure to upgrade to garage doors as soon as you can. We'll continue the build by making a jump up. Then we'll begin to honeycomb the base and to make the jump up on the other side of the base. You could use a normal jump up, or you could use a furnace. It doesn't really matter right now, because we'll end up using a ladder hatch later on anyways. Continue the build by walling in the second floor. Then place your ceilings, but keep in mind to keep the ceiling open that I do on screen here. You can change where you have your hop up later on, but I suggest watching this closely the first time through so you can understand how the layout works together. This is what your base should look like so far. This floor will be our inner peaks, so start by making 2 double door frames on either side. Then go ahead and wall in this floor the way I do on screen. Once again, the ceiling layout doesn't matter too much, but I suggest following the way I do on screen so you can understand how the layout fits together. Now we should begin working on the outer layer of the base. Follow the pattern that I do on screen here. It may look confusing, but it will make sense when you're building. Next, we'll do 2 double door frames on each side, and then a window on the right side and a wall on the left side. We'll do the same on the other side. Then we can go ahead and wall in our shell. Then we can make these little connecting gates. It's important to leave a slot for a triangle hatch. I do my triangle hatch on the same side as the wall, not the window, so make sure you do it the way I do on screen. Here you can see the way I place the ladder hatch. Make sure you do it the same way I do. Then you will need to place a second ladder hatch right above the first one. Place it in the same orientation, that way it creates an airlock. Then we repeat the same process on the other side. Now we'll place a wall on the side of the ladder hatch and a double door frame on the other triangle. Then we'll continue to wall in the outside layer one more level up. We'll also repeat the same design on the other triangle hatch. Here I'm making the peaks. You can choose to do them the same way I do, or if you have a better design, feel free to do those. Then we're going to go ahead and create these jump ups above these ladder hatches. We'll also begin to wall in the top of the base. Next, we're going to go ahead and seal off these jump ups to the top of the roof. It's very important that the doorways face the same way they do on screen here. Also note that I placed a ladder hatch on that jump up in the middle of the floor. I just forgot to include it in the video. We'll continue to design by walling in this next floor. This will be our open core. Replicate the same pattern that I do on screen here. Here we alternate between double loot rooms and singular square loot rooms. Then we'll go ahead and do the roofs, which the turrets will sit on top of. Then we'll begin placing half walls around the outside layer of the base. This part may look confusing, but all we're doing is isolating little sections for the turrets to sit in. Place a roof over top of every single slot except for the ones that I leave open. You'll notice in the spots that I leave open, I place these ramps, which we will use to peek down into the open core from above. Make sure to cover up the rest of the open slots. Ignore this center section here. I placed this on accident during the recording. Make sure to remember to leave one of the roofs open so that we can make our hop up. Here I will place a square ladder hatch. Then we will want to encase our ladder hatch and place a garage door. We will also make 2 door frames on either left and right and a single door frame out front. Then let's continue on our side hop-ups. Place 2 half walls, followed by 2 windows, and then a low wall up on top of the door frame. Then continue placing triangle frames here as I do on screen. We will place a ladder hatch in the lower frame and then leave the top one open. Go ahead and place 3 more windows on this side and then repeat on the other side. Once again, 2 half walls, then 2 windows, and then a low wall. Then we place the triangle hatch frames, and then an actual ladder hatch inside the lower one. Then we go ahead and finish this side off with 3 more windows. Before moving on to externals, I like to encase our open core peek downs so that if we get raided, raiders cannot use them against us. Do as I do on screen by encasing the peek down and creating garage doors on either side to get to the shooting floor. The base should look pretty funny from up top now, but at this point, we should start working on our external TCs. It's very hard to keep working on the roof, so the last thing we can do before we move down is place these triangles on either side of the windows. Here we'll do some very simple wide gap placements. Find the side of the base that has a square side coming out of it. Then, place 2 triangle foundations connected. After that, place 3 square foundations going out and remove every single other foundation other than that last square one. Here, we build back with triangles. Feel free to slow this down and make sure that you did it right. You can check if you did it right by saying that you can place these triangles between the wide gap and the main base, and if you place a triangle, you are able to place a door frame on top of it. This means you did it correctly. Next, we'll place a triangle and then a square on either side. Then, we'll place 2 more triangles on the top of either square. It looks complicated, but if you slow down the video, it's pretty simple. From here, we'll create our gates. We go out 2 squares, and on the second square, we do a triangle on either side. This is a very simple gate design that doesn't require any windows, so you can do the one I use, or if you prefer a different one, you can substitute it here. Next, we'll create the Disconnectable TC. Start by going out 4 foundations. After 4 square foundations, place 3 triangle foundations in a half moon. Then place 2 half walls and then circle in your little half moon, and you can place your TC inside. This is a very common disconnectable TC design. Here I'll show you how it works. Remove the 2 middle foundations and then connect the top with hatch frames. Then, when you need to disconnect the TC, you can place a roof here, and it will create an instability and break one of the hatch frames. After that, you can break the roof, and then you can replace your hatch frame, and you are once again connected to your TCs. Next, to place the barricades, you can place these twig roofs here, and create this little angle here, which will guarantee that you don't mess up the placement. After you've placed all your barricades, you can go ahead and break your ceilings, and then you have a completed gate. We'll create the same gate design on the other side. Here, I'll speed up the video a little bit. Then we can go ahead and start doing the wide gaps by building up these double door frames all the way up. This will be 4 layers up. Once you reach the top, you'll place a half wall on the very outside, the very middle, and on the other very outside. Then you can place triangles from every single half wall. Between these 2 triangles, you can place a hatch frame, and on these lower double door frames, you can place a singular ceiling. Then we'll go ahead and place windows all around from every snap line. Then on these lower ceilings, we'll go ahead and place these ramps the way I do on screen here. Make sure they're pointing the same direction as I do, that way it creates better angles. Then we'll place half walls on top of these windows, and we'll go ahead and make this a roof. Go ahead and place a window here, and add any double door frames as needed for extra stability. Continue placing roofs all around as much as you can, and then go on ahead and repeat the same process for the other side to create the wide gap. Then on these side hop-ups, go ahead and place a door frame and a half wall so you have enough stability to create this little jump up. Then go ahead and place 3 more windows up at the top here. We'll turn back around and we'll place a door frame on one side and then a double door frame on the other side. Go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side by placing a double door frame on the bottom, then a half wall on the top of the other double door frame. This will create a little jump up as we did on the other side. Also repeat with the double door frame and the single door frame, and then the windows and the roofs up top. These double door frames here give enough stability for the roofs. Now the base is sealed in and technically finished, but we also have to do the roof still. Begin by placing these low walls on these triangles around the side. Then we're going to go ahead and do these little overlapping triangles, which protects the turrets from MLRS rockets. These can also create some nasty angles, so they're overall a good addition. Now we'll go ahead and place square roofs on every other slot around the edge. You can technically have 6 windmills up here, but we'll only place 4 for now, because who really needs more than 30 turrets? Do as I do on screen here and create these opposing towers. Then go ahead and place a bunch of double door frames within these underlying roofs that we can create more windmill towers on the sides here. If you do not wish to use this many windmills, you can place SAM sites on top of these towers instead. Here, the base is technically done. You only need to add the compound and finish off the gates and place some braziers in the shooting floor. Another important thing to remember is to place the ladder hatches within these hatch frames that we created in the shooting floor. We could use these to quickly drop down from the shooting floor into our compound. These are incredibly useful during a raid defense. A lot of the windows around the hop-ups don't really need embrasures because the angles are already clean enough, so you don't need to waste extra metal and upkeep on them. Now you can really do your open core however you'd like, but this is how I do it. If you don't want to watch this, you can go ahead and skip, but I'm going to show you anyway. Make sure to leave a room open for your workbench, and you can turn some of these single squared rooms into locker rooms if you want for each member of your team. Depending on how many members you have, you can add more locker rooms or less locker rooms. Keep in mind that some of these rooms should also be dedicated battery rooms, as there are no others in the base. Next, we'll do the layout for these drop-down locker rooms. It's very important that you put a glass window on this window here, and then a locker in front of it. This makes it so that players have a really hard time shooting you through the tiny gap created. This bed placement is quite difficult, but once you get a little bit of practice, you can get it and a small box in the same room. Here you can see that very tight angle. Just make sure to keep a hammer and some metal frags in that box so you can pick this up as needed. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. I find these locker rooms to be incredibly strong because nobody thinks to raid straight up into the ladder hatches. Next, here's some tips for placing turrets. You should definitely place turrets under these inverted roofs as they are protected from MLRS rockets. Also, keep in mind of these wide gaps. You can place turrets around the wide gaps, and that way the turrets can peek down through them and shoot players under or below. Also, you should place turrets all around in your open core. If you place them a little bit further back, they cover less area, but you can place a low wall in front of them, which makes them harder to destroy. That's pretty much the base design. You can add some special things that you can see on screen here, like those little compound gate hop downs and the turrets in the compound, but that's about it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe.